So I thought it would be fun to do a quick tutorial on how I teach my students bow hold and also how I hold the bow. I haven't done one of these in a while, so I figured it would be a good idea to just show you how to hold a violin bow. And just quick side note, there's kind of different thoughts and different schools around bow hold. There's like a Russian school, there's a French school, there's a German school. And to be honest, I have no idea which school I learned. I just learned how to hold the bow from how my teacher taught. And I've changed it and it's evolved over time as I've learned different pieces of music. But when I'm first teaching a beginner, whether they're a little kid or they're an adult, how to hold the bow, I always start with hand shapes. And the reason I start with hand shapes is because it gives you a benchmark for how your hand should feel when you're holding the bow, because the bow hold feels very awkward when you're first starting. Your pinky's gonna be slipping, your hand is oriented in a way that is not natural, and you don't sort of orient your hand in this configuration when doing other things. Like I think the closest thing I could think of is maybe kind of like texting when we use to text with two hands, or typing on a keyboard. But aside from that, you don't really hold your hand and your fingers with your arm this way. So the first hand shape is open, and you can always practice these and do these even if you don't have your violin. I tell my students, practice your hand shapes, so you can get used to them. And then when you come to your violin, you do your hand shapes and you do your hold. So I start with open, then we do duck, the fingers come together. Then we do wolf, so index and pinky come up. Then we do dog, so we just curl everything and make a circle. And then we do talking dog. The next part, so once we have talking dog, is we will grab our bow by the stick. So make sure the bow side is for the right hand. This is my right hand. So remember the video, it's flipped sometimes. So right hand does the bow shapes because that holds the bow. You want to hold the stick of the bow with the left hand about here. Hold it kind of in front of you. So open, we do duck, then we do wolf, then we do dog, right? We're curling everything, and then talking dog. Talking dog is important because we want to use the tip of the thumb and connect with the tip of the middle fingers. It'll give you placements or points of reference. So parts of the bow, I may or may not go over those in detail, but we have the frog here and the screw, and then silver winding and a leather grip. So these are just parts of the bow where you will put your fingers. The thumb you want to keep curved always, just check it, it's going to slide all the time. For beginners, I'll have them put their thumb underneath the frog on this ivory part, like that. So use the tip of the thumb. So from talking dog, you open, thumb goes there. The middle fingers will go on the other side. You can kind of think of almost making a ring with the middle fingers and the tip of the thumb, how they were touching before. Mine, I don't recommend them touching, so just kind of keep them a little bit of space. The pinky goes right on top, next to the screw, not on the screw, next to the screw, which tightens and loosens the bow hair. And then the index finger will just lay over like that, like with the other fingers, I mean. So it's kind of like talking dog, right? Except everything's kind of curved a little bit and you're leaning with the index finger. We don't press, sometimes we do, but we don't want to when we're first learning bow hold. And then the pinky will be right on top, sometimes on the inside curve if you're advanced enough and comfortable with the bow hold. That's where we actually put it, but for right now, the top of the bow is fine. And if it's not too difficult, I'll have them actually put their thumb kind of inside the frog. I hesitate to use the word inside the frog because a lot of students will do this. They'll straighten their thumb and then stick it all the way through. We don't want to do that, right? We want to still use the tip of the thumb, and we actually put it on the upper side curve of the edge of the bow. So the little nook, the upper side, not the lower side. And our nail can touch this metal piece, which is called the ferrule. It holds the bow hair in. So sometimes I'll have them do that, for a while. And then if they get comfortable with that, then we move the thumb. Again, it can move around depending on what kind of bow hold you're doing. I actually put my thumb on the leather grip. Some players put their thumb on the edge of the frog right there. Some people hold it up a little higher, kind of closer to the silver winding or whatever winding you have, or plastic. I put mine kind of around here and still try to keep it curved. And it doesn't have to be all the way back here when you're kind of moving the bow hold up a little bit for its proper place, but it can be. So if it's in the frog, it can be back here, but if you're on the grip, it's going to be up a little further. And so the last caveat to bow hold, is that it's not a death grip, it's just a form. I tell my students it's like a glove. You wear a glove, right? If it's fitted well, it's not too tight, it's not too loose, you can do stuff with your hand, you can hold a cup of coffee, you can play on your phone, you can play video games, right? The glove's not gonna come off. Bow hold is the same way. It's flexible, but your fingers are glued, right? So you want the fingers to be able to move, but they're not gonna like come loose off the bow, right? And then anytime you have the bow, right, it's always resting on the violin, right? I'm using my shoulder, but you're not holding the bow, meaning like supporting the bow so that it doesn't fall, right? So it's not a death grip again, it's resting on the string and you're just moving it across. So that's a quick bow hold tutorial. Let me know if you want me to do other kind of tutorials on the basics, right? And again, bow hold can take a long time to get used to. I tell them you could get it in a week, you could get it in a month, you might take you 6 months to get used to it, right? But the more consistent you are with it, the easier it feels and your muscles get used to it. It's a skill and it takes practice just like anything. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this and learned something new.